Hey, it's EG. Welcome to the audio version of the Be Yourself Marketing newsletter. And if you haven't checked out the podcast yet, there are real conversations with entrepreneurs just like you, and they're building on their own terms because your best marketing strategy is the one you were born with. Find it wherever you listen. Now, let's get into the newsletter.
We cut the wrong thing first. Some weeks you just want to pull the blinds, crawl under the covers, and pretend the world can wait a few days. This was another one of those weeks for me. Not because anything catastrophic happened, it's just death by 1,000 soggy inconveniences. The kind that slowly wear your patience down until hiding starts sounding productive. More rain, more flooding. The tadpoles that took over the driveway have moved into the barn now, too, doing laps right around where my truck's meant to go. I keep joking I should have built something that floats like an ark instead of a barn. Record snow, then record rain, and probably soon to be followed by more snow. Mother Nature isn't doing subtle in Alberta this year, and honestly, that whole out of sight, out of mind sounds pretty darn good right now. Blinds down, covers up, just wake me when it's dry. But here's the thing about wanting to disappear. The dog, she still needs to go pee. And she's so miserable in this weather, she actually does try to hold it. So I have to march her out into the rain, wait her out, then trowel dry what feels like 80 layers of fur so the wet dog smell doesn't soak into everything inside. The cats still need feeding and their litter box cleaned. Clients still need showing up for too. That is, if I want to keep getting paid. None of that cares about how I feel about it. And there's one thing that's always first off of our to-do list, and that's the part that quietly breaks your heart when you let it. Because when life floods, the things you have to show up for stay on the list. Your pets, your families, the deadline with someone else's name on them. The one thing that always seems to come off your to-do list first is your own thing, which is weird when you think about it because it's supposedly the most important thing. The thing you said you were building towards, the thing you sacrificed for, the thing you tell yourself matters most. Yet somehow it's always the first thing we negotiate away. Your business, your dream life, that reason you started any of this. Nobody's standing at the door making you show up for it. There's no whimpering dog. There's no consequence tonight if you skip it. So it's the easiest thing in the world to whisper, not this week. I'll get back to it once the water level drops. And that part bothered me this week wasn't the flood. It was how fast I started making excuses for my own thing. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Need me to help a client? I'm there. Need me to look after animals? Done. Need me to spend a day solving somebody else's problem? No hesitation. But ask me to work on the thing I moved out here to build? Suddenly, I've got reasons not to. And worse, wondering, why even bother? That's the trap, isn't it? The dream doesn't usually die because life gets hard. It dies because nobody notices when it quietly slips to the bottom of your list. And what I tell clients turns out to be true for life, too. So here's what I put on repeat with my coaching clients. Focus on your who and your why more than your what and your how. Because your what and your how are the moving parts, the tactics, the platform, the plan for the week, and those, well, they can get wrecked by circumstances all the time. But my how right now is literally drowning. Yes, my property works frozen, the schedule shot, half my systems are like baby wipes and best guesses, and every how I had a month ago is literally underwater at the property and the house. But my why hasn't moved an inch. And that's what surprised me. The flood changed the schedule. It's changing the plan and what a productive day even looks like. But it didn't change the reason I came here in the first place. My friend Pauline Longdick calls it your unshakable why. Napoleon Hill, from Think and Grow Rich, called it the definiteness of purpose. And it doesn't really matter what label you stick on it. I just know that every time life gets messy, it's the thing I end up coming back to. It's the reason you don't quit when the how falls apart. Why I'm out here, why I'm building any of this, why I still open the laptop between hauling rocks and toweling off the dog, that hasn't changed. The weather can't touch it. The flood can't reach it. The truth is, I don't know if I'm on this exact patch of dirt for the long haul. Too much is still up in the air to promise myself that. But the why underneath it, the part I am certain of, it doesn't involve city living. It never has. Whatever the address ends up being, it's not back in quote-unquote civilization with the boss's name on my phone. And that's the part worth holding on to when everything is a mess. So there's a picture of this that's literally sitting in my flooded barn. The pressure-treated beams. Right now, they're soaked. Water is pooling up and around them. Mud's everywhere. Wherever the tadpoles aren't there, anyway. And it all looks like the rest of it, just a soggy mess. And look, the beams, they don't care. Because underneath the surface, they're doing exactly what they were built to do. They're treated for exactly this mess. They can stand in the water, take the pressure, hold the weight, and still be the solid thing the whole barn is built on. The flood doesn't weaken them, it just gets them wet. That's your why. Soaked through? Maybe. Tested. Surrounded by a mess that was never in the plan, but still the thing everything else stands on. And as long as you don't let a wet season convince you it's rotted, so when you're underwater, go check the beams. When your how is falling apart, don't go scrambling to rebuild the how first. That's just bailing. Go check the beams. Say your why out loud again. Not the polished or networking event version. Your real one. The one you'd still believe if nobody ever applauded it. Notice it hasn't changed? Your circumstances did. Your season did. But your why? It's still standing. And still dry where it counts. So do one small thing that honors it. Not the whole plan, not the end game, not catching up on everything. Just one thing that says, I'm still here and this still matters. Because the how can come back or change. The water drops, the season turns. It always does, eventually. But the why is what keeps you in the game long enough to be standing there when it does. So let me be straight with you. I have scaled back more than I wanted to. And there were a few moments this week where quitting sounded suspiciously reasonable. Like standing in ankle-deep water trying to hold the plastic barrier in place with rocks, while more water kept finding ways in and around. That was definitely one of them. That's the funny thing about the hard seasons. They make giving up sound practical. Now, I'm not heroically grinding through a flood with a smile on my face. Things got cut this week that I wish hadn't. And I've seen those blinds get pulled down more than once. But I'm still here. I'm still working, and I'm still trying to show up for the thing that's mine, even if it's a smaller and slower version of what I'd like right now. And here's the other thing that keeps me going when the how is pretty much a write-off. Stupider people have done it. And side note, thanks to Jay Sweetelson's book title, that's now my new mantra. People build this exact off-grid life long before there was a scrap of tech to make it easier. No tutorial, no app, no YouTube video, no quitting and driving back to town for a hot shower. They figured it out because they had to. It was literally life or death. Me? I'm being inconvenienced if we're honest. I can, in theory, quit while I'm behind and escape back to civilization anytime I lose my nerve. And if they could do it with everything stacked against them and survival on the line, flooding how and all, well, so can I. So can you. Not because we've got it all figured out. I mean, I clearly don't have pools or now using my barn more than me. But because the mess is the season, and the season changes. Your why, my why, it doesn't. So if your thing's being the first casualty off of a hard stretch, let me ask you this. Forget the how for a bit. It's allowed to be a mess. What's your why? Let me know. Not the version that's buried in your business plan, the version you'd still fight for if everything around you got washed away. And has it actually changed, or does it just feel a little unreachable right now under all that water? Make it a great, still standing week.